Hello and welcome to Grace Mr. live stream with Con, as we call it, Coffee and Con, Coffee with Con. Hello everyone, good to see you all. As usual, tell me, how is the sound? I was running around and I haven't noticed I was already 16 past 2. Hopefully everyone's having a good time. We have sun in London, which doesn't happen very often, so I am looking forward to weekend. Finally, maybe gonna take my film camera out. It's probably the day where I can use maybe 200 or even 100 ISO film. That would be exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Hello everyone in the chat. We've got new faces and old faces. Hello Randall, thank you so much. We've started our live stream with a beautiful coffee from Randall. Thank you very much, Randall. J Blue is in the chat. Thank you, J Blue. I don't think I thanked you last week, so thank you very much. Coffee Fund is open. If you feel like getting me some coffee, feel free to do so. Hello, John, Randall, Baxter, David, Ian. Who else do we have here? So Andy's in the chat as well. Hope you're getting on well with your new to you, D850. You got Richard, Jan, Mookie MC. I think he's new. Welcome to the chat. Welcome. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me today. We've got Ian, Champagne, Sumo, Paul P, Craig, Tony, Terry, Joe. Oh, good crowd we have today. Well, if you have any questions for me, please do, if you need any advice, anything, hopefully Nikon related, but photography relates as well. Whatever I can answer, I will. And if you want us to discuss whatever is on the news this week, photography news, then we can do that as well. For example, well, no Nikon news so far. Everyone is waiting for Z6 Mark III, which is, according to Nikon rumors, is going to be launched anything between, let's say, 10th to 12th of June, So there was rumors that B&H in Arama is closed, but, never stopped Nikon to announce things during those days. So who knows, maybe next week you'll hear from us saying, hey, Nikon launched a new camera, yay, so that could be that as well. So, but in the meantime, what was on news this week? Adobe's new policy apparently on their Lightroom and, all the Adobe photography products. And it's all went with basically all the news websites reported that basically Adobe will have access to all your data, basically all the works that you have on your hard drives and all this, so they can look at them, So according to clarification, actually it's what's stored on Adobe Cloud Services. So if you use Adobe Cloud Services, this information can be accessed. But it definitely caused a controversy, and I'm glad that photographers are allowed. So I hope that Adobe is going to backtrack a little bit on that and clarify it as well. We have Seth in the chat. Seth, welcome. Let's talk. Me and Seth want to set something up. We definitely need to set the date. I'll text you after the live stream. Let's talk about this. Colin, thank you, Jay Blue. He says, enjoy your weekend shooting film. Yeah, definitely. Film photography is, being basically solely keeping the film photography alive, but I'm sure that some people in the chat as well shoot film every now and then as well. Let's see what you guys say in the chat. Let's see if I can caught up with everyone. So everyone is from all over the place. But actually, if you are watching this video after the fact, so not live, do let me know where you are watching from, first of all. And if you have any questions, do let me know. Speaking of which, there was a question last week on live stream asking on video equipment recommendations. So I'm just going to quickly look it up on the system here. So and I'm going to answer it because it was a question that will require slightly longer answer. So I'm just going to quickly find comments. Oh, okay. So we got Nikon. Okay, I won't find it, but it was something to do with the video setup from Nikon, which my answer was maybe Nikon is going to surprise us with the new video announcement. Speaking of video equipment announcements, so there were two announcements. One from Panasonic, GH7 has been announced, Micro Four Thirds camera for videography, which records 32-bit float. 32-bit float is like RAW for audio, basically. It allows you to recover a lot more data compared to, let's say, normal setup. So think like our Rode mics you have to level them. Make sure you don't clip. Make sure you're not too low as well. So, and audio in our videos is not very good. So 32-bit float for us probably will be a savior. That's for sure. So that's one of the things that we will start to see in video cameras as well. But then Canon announced their C400 video line as well. That's an expensive camera. So that is again one aimed at videographers. So I think there's quite interesting things happening in videography world. Hopefully Nikon and Red, together will surprise us with something. So Eric Laurie is in the chat. He always comes up with questions. And let's have a look what he is asking me today. So he is asking, back in the day, camera launches came around every 7 or so years. Now they happen every year. Do most Nikon users update each time a new model comes out, or do they hang on their old cameras? Well, I think it's to do with all electronics nowadays. It's not just camera manufacturers, but obviously if you look at, let's say, Google phone and, iPhone releases, it's all done on yearly schedules. So the whole idea is they want to release more and more products, and they want us to upgrade every year. Does it happen every year? No. Definitely. Most of the users probably will upgrade every 3 to 5 years. Professional photographers tend to upgrade not as frequently compared to enthusiasts. And we also have a small group of people who upgrade to every single release. So let's say maybe when Z6 came out, they bought Z6, they're trading their camera, then they bought Z6 Mark II, and now they're looking forward to Z6 Mark III, etc. So it all happens together. I personally think that technology-wise, the camera manufacturing and just image quality overall, we've reached that point where technology is so good. We're not really advancing every 5 to 10 years in terms of technology. Yes, there's a new thing which is called global shutter, which is going to come. Again, I don't think per se that it's useful for majority of people. There's definitely a use for that, and technology is only going to get better. But overall, I think, like for me, in terms of Nikon system, as long as you're on the latest AF tech, so ZF, Z8, Z9, and whatever is going to come out after, basically these cameras, that's worth upgrading just for the autofocus purposes, really, more than anything else. The image quality is already there. The video quality, again, who needs it? They will probably, we'll be looking at something like Z8, Z9, but they also may invest in professional videographers' cameras, like, let's say, FX6 or Canon system or Blackmagic system, or even Red, so that's the thing. But it really depends on everyone. I personally think that we've reached that point. In terms of lenses, again, if you, let's say, bought your H5 1.2 now, this one, I have a second-hand one here, I want to show you. So if you bought one of those, it's highly likely it will stay with you for the next 10 years. Even if Nikon, let's say, releases H5 1.2 Mark II, I don't think it will be worth upgrade personally. If you bought the latest 105, you should be fine. They don't tend to upgrade those very often. What Nikon tend to release back in the day, at least they used to do, they used to release a lot of kit lenses. We had 18-70, 18-135, 18-140, 18-55. There were 4 or 5 revisions of those. 18-100, we had 2 versions. We had 2 versions of 18-300. So that's more of a consumer market, if you see what I mean. So on Pro Glass, yeah, you generally, let's say, yeah, you buy a lens, it's going to probably stay with you. The only way you would upgrade is maybe upgrade up from there. So if you bought H5 1.8, and then you shot your portraits all the time, you want to upgrade your portrait lens to something next level, then you will buy H5 1.2 just, to go further there. So I think that's the idea behind it. But yes, marketing do want us to buy latest and greatest. Photography is expensive hobby. So again, let's say I know that, let's say if I would have a regular job, nothing photography related, I probably wouldn't be able to accommodate as much equipment as I have. That's the thing. So that's just, it's everywhere. I mean, you look at hi-fi, it's another level as well. You look at computer parts, you're looking at graphics cards, those things can get expensive as well. So, especially if you're buying NVIDIA cards, NVIDIA is dominating this market. It's dominating the stock market as well. I think it's the most valuable company nowadays. So, it's all to do with AI, and NVIDIA is producing chips to do that. Thank you very much, Jean St. Louis. He said, good morning, Con. Coffee fan. Thanks so much. Just got my coffee, my Nikon coffee. It's a nice vintage stick I've got here. Let's continue with questions. So Andy, have I stopped buffering? I don't know. Internet seems to be fine now, but if there is a buffer, do let me know. And again, if there's any audio issues, that also do let me know. Send Nukes is asking, do you have any new lens coming from Viltrox for Nikon Z mount? We will release a review of 56DX lens 1.7. That should come out next week. We're just literally finalizing it as we speak. So this should be, if everything lines up, we should have two videos, 28-400 and Viltrox 56 lens. We haven't had access to the new release 16mm lens, maybe in the future, who knows. So someone asked me a question, how 85-1.8 S Nikon Z compares to Viltrox 85-1.8. I don't have the answer to that because I haven't tried the Viltrox version. So I assume for the price it's probably very good. I think Nikon probably would have its edge, but again, without actually testing them, I can't really say which one is better. Ian, why are you saying he's asking, I have a D810, but as I get older, I suffer with the back pain for a few days after I've been out for a day with it. Yeah, it is a heavy camera. If what you suggest to replace it with? Well, I would personally think camera like Z7 would be a good option. You can go, let's say D810 is not exactly the fastest camera in terms of autofocus speed or in terms of frame rate. So in terms of this, you probably can get a high resolution Z7, which is small and light, much smaller and much lighter compared to D810. You can still use your lenses via FTZ adapters. So as long as you don't need fast autofocus, that would be a perfect landscape camera. And in terms of dynamic range, it's actually pretty much the best sensor. Even let's say Z8 and Z9 is slightly below in terms of dynamic range. That's according to DxO mark testing, you know. So we're talking about negligible difference, but yes, that should technically give you the best dynamic range on Nikon camera for landscape work. Definitely don't need to add any grip. Just get a couple of batteries. You already have the lens you like, so just get Z7 Mark 1 or Mark 2. Who knows, maybe Mark 3 if it's ever been released. I don't know, we'll see. So let's all wait for Z6 Mark 3 and then find out, then speculate about Z7 Mark 3, I assume. Crexy is saying, very cautious about readout speed on Z6 Mark III sensor. Any chatter about that? Whatever Nikon rumor says, if you look, they kind of reposting the same thing, just trying to keep the dream alive, really. I don't think, that we will see anything real until these actual announcements. So, the good news is today is what, 7th, according to Nikon rumors, we'll hear something on 10/12. So, so that's in 3 days. I think let's have a good weekend and then come back on Monday and just, and we should have everything available for us, I assume. From personal opinion, I think that it should be fast because if we look at, from design point of view, it's supposed to be something between Z6 series and Z8 in terms of build, and the size of the camera. I assume it will be slightly faster. According to rumors, the price is going to be higher than the Z6 Mark II recommended retail price. So that tells me that there's a lot more pro features should come to it. So I assume that readout from the sensor should be competitive with other brands. So that's my thinking about it, but who knows? Joe Vlog says, I hold on to my cameras till they die. I'm nursing my second D800 at the moment, which has developed a sticky shutter at 130K shutter actuations. If it's a sticky shutter, potentially you may be able to get a service. Hopefully it's just some gunk, on a rubber seals around the button. So who knows, but I know that if it's a little bit more complicated and to do with replacing parts, that could be an issue. But if it's just a regular clean, who knows, maybe you will be able to service it somewhere locally. So try that. Hopefully it's not going to be that expensive. Seth is commenting on the Eric's question. He says, camera releases have slowed down dramatically. The last few years have been a race to build out new lines and get to the next usable level of new technology that reach low cost and less trades-off. Absolutely agree on that. So everyone is kind of starting to mimic that Fuji thing where they would come out with their flagship camera and then they will reuse the sensor and kind of introduce the same technology to the, to the cheaper, smaller, lighter models, So they've started to do it with X Pro 1. That's the reason why I say that I think Fuji started it first. But if you look at the Z9, Z8, ZFC, we saw that progression. So I personally think that the Z6 III will be slightly above ZFC, so the ZF, sorry, full frame. So obviously that should bring some interesting technology into the mix. I think there's a lot of it might be ZF tech. Like I assume that the vibration reduction on the sensor is going to be very similar to ZF design. So things like this, but hopefully, yeah, we'll see a different sensor, even if it's the same resolution. And that's, again, to do with a question to the readout. So, ZF sensor is not going to have as fast readout as, let's say, Z9, Z8. So if we're going to get, 24 megapixel, well, as people say, stacked sensor, so much faster data flow, so that could be very interesting. Michael Reed is asking, which would you upgrade first, your car or your phone? Price not relevant. I always want to upgrade my car. My wife kind of tells me, no, we're going to use our car till, it gives up on us, really. So, but knocking the wood, my Mazda has been serving me well for last, 5 years now. So, knocking the wood. I mean, but I'm not, I don't commute every day by car. So that's the thing. Car is our kind of, shop thing and store thing. But in terms of phone, I'm on my iPhone 12 Pro, still doing well. I was thinking to upgrade to our iPhone 15, but to be honest with you, again, I don't really see the point. I don't use my phone as a camera phone. I do take pictures with it. I do take videos with it, but it's not something that I'm going to say, oh, I've taken, let me share my iPhone work on Instagram. No, definitely not. So I don't consider them as a proper cameras, but you can do a lot with them. For me, it's an internet browser. It's obviously a communication device. So it's going strong. So as long as Nikon, Apple supports them, I will do it. But once kind of the security updates start to kind of being stop supported, that's probably when I'll upgrade. But yeah, maybe every 5 years for the phone. For car, maybe every 10 years. Who knows? I don't know. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Tony says, don't forget to show your love by clicking the like button. The like button actually helps so much. You don't know this, and I know everyone is lazy, but if you do like this channel, if you do support us, what it does is actually helps the algorithm to basically show it to more people. That's what it is. And, the point of our channel was always kind of to help you, in terms of like give you information. So, and hopefully that means that some people who will find this channel, they'll learn a lot about Nikon, about cameras, about technique, all sorts like this. And these kind of weekly, Q&A sessions that we hold as well, hopefully are useful to you as well. For next week, we might have Gray, and we're going to talk about old film cameras. So we've stopped on Nikon F3, so we might talk about F4, F5 cameras, unless Z6 III comes out, and then we'll move it around. So, but that's what we have in mind. We haven't talked about film cameras for quite some time. Let's see. I'm trying to go through all the questions. So hopefully, I don't know if I'm slightly behind or not, but I'll try to answer as many questions as I can. Champagne Summer saying, is there such a thing as camera lens recycling? I mean, going beyond harvesting cameras for parts. Well, that's the problem with all electronics, isn't it? So, I don't like the idea of a lot of electronics ending up in a landfill, So, that's why I'm all about the idea of, I think all manufacturers should allow, third-party repairs. That's kind of my stance personal, because I personally think that if we want to use those any electronic equipment for like 100 years, we should be able to do so. We should be able to replace the parts and things like this. So obviously the fine example of this is, of course, film equipment, which suddenly is back, into fashion. A lot of young people are using it. A lot of us people who shot film before moving to digital coming back to it and enjoying it. So, and one of the things is, yeah, there are not many cameras around and the condition. So overall, I personally think the good thing about film cameras, obviously, there's not many actually electronical parts in there, so mechanical cameras can be still serviced. But I would rather take, to answer your question, I would rather take salvaging for parts over dumping it in a landfill than burying it. So that's kind of my opinion about this. You know, obviously, if we can find a way to recycle everything, that would be absolutely amazing, not just with electronics, but with plastics. You know, yada, yada, yada. Let's pollute less. I mean, let's be honest. So, okay. Let's see. Another question from Ian. He says, thanks for answering, but using the Z adapter, would that not cause the same problem as I would be using the same lens? Could I be better with the Z lens? You definitely can, can be better with the Z lens. Obviously, you will need to see what lenses are available. So I don't know if you mentioned any lens in your previous question. So, but if you tell me which lens you have, I can try to find lighter replacement for you, so that would be hopefully within the same quality. Like, let's say if you got 16-35, 14-30 is definitely a nice upgrade because it's better in sharpness, but it's also smaller and lighter, so that could be a good thing as well. Hello, Kirill. He's saying happy belated birthday, Con. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you, Kirill. Yeah, I had a good time. So my wife had a nice schedule for us. So we went to the theatre, we went to central London on the 1st of June, and there were protests in London. There was police cars on Westminster Bridge. There were lots of Borussia Dortmund and Real Madrid supporters because there was a Champions League final at Wembley. So I had my camera on me, and I shot a roll through that day, a part of enjoying just kind of our day out as well. But that was, yeah, the Westminster Bridge on the 1st of June. I'll develop my roll next week. I'll put it on Instagram. It's if you ever saw the movie 28 Days Later, you know, that's kind of vibe I got from it. So, you know, if you haven't seen this movie, you definitely should watch that. That's one of the kind of top British cinema movies, I would say. All right, let's see. Let's move on. Let's. When I was in Los Angeles, my wife said, let's go to a celebrity bar store, right? So to see all the celebrity houses. As a tourist, you do that, yeah? So when and this guy, the driver, he was a comedian or something. He was doing stand-ups and things like this. So all the time he would show something. He was like, let's roll. So I'm going to say let's roll from now on. So it was just, yeah, it's a very catchy tune. Okay, Champagne on Con's Cars. Yeah, sounds like a new enterprise. Definitely. We gonna take over. I forgot the name of the show. All right. Anyway, I'll come back to it. Yeah, whatever the car show, the famous car show that's been cancelled by BBC, and they did it on Amazon after that. So let's go to your questions. So yeah, people talking about iPhones. Yeah, so some people are still on iPhone 12. The same. I think it's great. You know, so does the job I need. The same electronics overall. It's all about the same. So, you know, there's no need to upgrade unless you really need that particular feature. If you want to shoot ProRes on iPhone 15 Pro, then that could be a good option. Just, guys, bear with me for a moment. Sorry, guys, I had to blow my nose real quick. Okay, so Champagne Summer is an old Nokia phone, 3310 with a snake on. I mean, you know, good memories, you know. Some people start with NES and some people start with Nokia 3310, you know, so it is what it is. Top Gear, thank you very much. You know, sometimes you know and you just forget. Jeremy Clarkson, that's, you know, so we're going to take over them. Hoping to sign my contract with Amazon for big money. TopCon, yeah, sounds good. That's all sounds good. All right, Pompey is asking, 24-70 f4 versus 24-200. The answer is the use. If you are shooting a lot between 70 and 200, the answer is 24-200. It's a very capable lens, but 24-70 f4 is sharp. It's very, very sharp. It's you know, it's a great kit lens. You know, no doubt about this. Can be picked up secondhand for dirt cheap, really. You know, so. All right. Let's see. Get 24 to 120 instead of the other two. 24 to 120 is fantastic. In UK, we have the summer savings promotion at the moment. Brand new, this lens is £869. That's incredible value for what you get. I think it came out at $12.99, so it's a great value for money. If you can get it together with something like Z8 as a kit, again, it's a good saving there. So it's one of those lenses that if you can afford it, definitely get it. I've got 24 to 72.8, and that's my events lens. So, and I film with it. But if I would be traveling, I would buy 24 to 120, no doubt about this. It's a very, very capable lens. So let's see. TCM says the wedding photographers needed to differentiate between their work and their kit lens people. I think I won't buy one, but there's a group of folks who needed it. Yeah, wedding photographers, shoot with equipment they want because they not only looking at workhorses, they're also looking at something to complement their photography style as well. So that's that it is what it is. So Baxter he says, this year I have been shooting all my BTS, so behind the scenes, when on shoots on 35mm film, a good excuse to shoot some of more unusual film stocks. It's a great way to do it. And we were talking the other day about Pentax release. You know, Pentax is releasing a new film camera. They're releasing a half-frame camera. Their justification is that film is expensive, okay? So they suggest that we should shoot with a half-frame camera so we get 72 shots per roll. Our discussion was based on this. When you're shooting film nowadays, do you really shoot it as you would do with digital camera? Because for me personally, I kind of tend to choose my shots. I shoot a lot of medium format, so I'm limited to 10 frames, yeah? So that is... that's another level of kind of filtering selection what I want to shoot with this, yeah, because each shot matters. But I do find myself that sometimes I can't finish a roll of 36 in a month. You know, obviously everyone is different. I know some of you who shoot in street photography, you can go through 3-4 rolls in a day. But I don't shoot my film camera, even 35mm film cameras, I would shoot digital. I wouldn't snap everything. I would really... as you're saying, seeing the light thing, I would really look at something interesting, composition, etc. So that's the thing. So, I don't in my opinion, I think Pentax should release, let's say, a full-frame camera, and I hope they will after success of their half-frame camera. But I personally think that 36 frames is a lot to shoot on a roll of film. And roll of film, at least in UK prices, color film can be gold is about 36 frames, about £10 a roll. It's not that bad. It's not that bad, especially now you can't really buy brand new film cameras. I'm talking about SLR style, so not lomography stuff. I think it's reasonable. So, in my opinion, okay. Well, I know you guys prefer more digital, so let's talk a little bit more about that. So we answered that. Andy Hater is asking, would you use normal sports switch on the 200 to 400 for the air show? So, okay, I'm buffering again, so I'm just going to give it a moment. I think I've stopped buffering. Okay. So the sport on a lot of Nikon lenses was to do with the vibration reduction for panning, basically, effectively. So I would say check the manual of the lens, see what they say, but highly likely if you are panning the plane, then yeah, you probably want to use that. But to be honest with you, if you're shooting handheld, you know, for anything faster than 500ths of a second, and it's highly likely for the planes, flying planes, you will shoot faster than 500ths of a second. Okay, I'm buffering. Okay, so if you're shooting faster than 500ths of a second, you need to technically turn the VR off. You know, so it doesn't matter what your sports mode you use or not. So that's the thing. So so the advice there, yeah, just if you can, turn it off as long as you're shooting at 500ths of a second or faster. Okay, buffering. Okay, have you heard the answer on that question, or shall I repeat myself? All right, it looks like I'm not buffering now. I am again. Okay, are we back? Or are we back to buffering? All right, is it okay now? Is it okay? Can I continue, or shall we wait a little bit? Ivan saying GameStop trading is using up the bandwidth. Yeah, they're all buying GME right now. Yeah, that's true. And AMD Cinema. Yeah, those are what we call meme stocks. Okay, I am buffering again. Okay, come on, internet. All right, can I continue, or shall we? Or shall we wait? Okay, it looks like I'm not buffering, so I'm going to continue then. Okay. Eric is asking, any chance Nikon would release a new DSLR? I don't think there's a chance of Nikon releasing a new DSLR, I'm afraid. So that's just the way it is. They suggested that they will support DSLR till 2025, which means we have 1 more year left. Joe Vlogs is saying, my Nikon Coolpix S220 is obviously horrible, but I can set a rear curtain flash so I can actually have fun with it. That's true. A lot of point shoot cameras as well, like let's say X100 series from Fuji, they have a leaf shutter as well. That's good fun with, flash basically. So you can shoot really, really fast sync, thousands of a second, etc. All right. So buffering. Let's keep buffering. Let's see if we can get more questions. I don't like when it's buffering. It's just, it's live, unfortunately. Can be read the sensor directly, has no benefits. Okay, we discussed the sports mode. There's a talk about EVF. I wasn't fan of EVF as well. EVF, definitely technology has improved quite a bit compared to what we had before. Refresh rate is a big thing. Resolution of the EVF is a big thing. So that has improved quite a bit. And then one of the benefits is you can set the camera to give you actual exposure. So what you will get with your, what you see is what you get effectively. So effectively whatever exposure. So if you want to expose and see results, you can see it in the EVF. So, you can't do it with optical viewfinder. That's the thing. But I think both have to exist. Obviously, with mirrorless, they are pushing us to use those little screens. I personally don't like to look at the screen, because electronic screens, because I just look at the screens whole day. That's just my life, So, like when I'm enjoying photography, I want to rest my eyes personally, So, but I don't see any point of not having a VF in the cameras. But when I shoot film, I enjoy optical experience and I enjoy rangefinder experience, you name it. So there's that. Okay. So you buffering, but we're hearing delay. Thanks, Terry, for the update. That's good. But as long as you can hear me, that's good. So we didn't have buffering for about a month or so, and it's back again. So I am going to call our IT guys. He's actually sipping cocktails or somewhere on the British seashore. So probably, hopefully he's back next week. So we're going to talk about it. Speaking of some nice place with the beach, Carrie is saying hello from the Bahamas. And she can see me with no bufferings. Maybe I am streaming from the Bahamas. This is just a green screen. Who knows, It wouldn't be that, well, that would be really, really nice. I agree. So, okay. Okay, let's see what people say. So autofocus for video. So video autofocus definitely has improved nowadays. So if you need autofocus for your video, all cameras, can do the job. And obviously the new cameras like Z8 is probably perfect hybrid camera. Obviously, if you need a slight upgrade on this, Z9 is a good option. Speaking of Z8, this is a second-hand Z8 we got here. So that's that. We got 105 Micro Z secondhand. So those are on sale at a good price, not just secondhand, but even the new price is fantastic. So, you know, this is one of the things that I'm really glad that I have access to Z8. It's a superb camera. Definitely you can throw anything at it and will perform really well. All right, let's see. So are we still in the chart? So it seems like everyone was still buffering, but let's see. Let's talk about film. Let's talk about film for a little bit, just to warm up the chat a little bit. So I saw Boxer's comment on how many rolls of film he's shooting. Let me just see if I can find that. He is saying that on set I tend to get through a couple of rolls per session, always finish the roll on the go, medium format as well, just a few images on the roll, all very deliberate and considered. Exactly, and that's kind of what my thinking is, you know. I do find that, yeah, if I have a good subject, I will go through a couple of rolls of medium format easily. So 20 shots is nothing really, but 36 shots, that's definitely takes some time to finish, for me at least, you know. So generally, when I don't, like, if I shoot film, I generally would try to shoot as much medium format first. And 35mm would be for something that I would say more throwaway type of content for me, you know. That's the thing. So definitely medium format is more critical for me. So I will deliberate on, you know, how to use it and what I'm going to get with it. So that's the thing. But I think everyone should really shoot medium format. You should just really shoot that, and you should really try for yourself. And I'm talking like, okay, 645 is great, but go 6x6, go 6x7. Yeah. So just try this. If you want to buy Texas Leica, which is Fujifilm 690 series. You know, those are not very expensive, by the way, and that one even will give you 8 shots on a roll of 120, and that would give you 35mm ratio. So the same ratio is 35mm film, while let's say something like 6x7 is obviously more rectangle. So, you know, I do prefer that 6x7 ratio personally, and sometimes I do find that even my 35mm shots, because I'm so used to 6x7, you know, I'm kind of like, oh, do I crop my shots to that ratio or not? So, but it's one of the things I really enjoy. But 35mm is with me where I know I'm going to go meet people. I'm going to do more kind of people event, you know, kind of social documentary, streets type of work. But film is by medium camera is going to be for something. Oh, you know, I'm taking this landscape. It's very important. Yada, yada, yada. Thank you, Vince. He say, hope Koffee isn't too disappointing in the Bahamas. Yeah, that's a good question. Well, I need to go there to find out. But, you know, maybe Kerry can invite me, you know, so we'll find out. Okay, so Dave Last says, Tamron G2 2875 or Nikon version. Difficult. We did a comparison. We shot this video about a month ago. It's not ready yet, unfortunately. It's difficult. I think they're about the same. Tamron has slight edge in terms of sharpness. Autofocus performance is about the same. I personally think that if you skip all the brand thing, then, like, personally, if, let's say, no strings attached, if I have to buy one, it's tough because Tamron is technically slightly better, but Nikon gives you this peace of mind. And that's why we're talking about third-party brands. This is very important. How many people would prefer Nikon version over the same version from third party? And in terms of this, you know, that's a lot of people probably would still buy Nikon because Tamron really needs to be significantly optically better than the Generation 1 effectively version, which is, you know, made by Nikon, yeah, but based on Tamron design. So overall, I don't think that Tamron version outperforms Nikon version significantly. We're talking about splitting hairs, really. Corners are about the same. Center sharpness, I think, is slightly better on the Tamron version, but that's a Generation 2 design. That's what it is. So overall, I personally think that if you don't look at brands, get a Tamron version because I think price-wise they're about the same. We're talking about maybe £100 difference. But if you want a peace of mind, get a Tamron, get a Nikon version. So that's kind of my thinking about this. So, you know, I don't have a clear answer, I'm afraid. And I'm not looking at this like we sell both. We sell both. But if, like, for me, like, I would say that when Sigma Art came out, there's 3514 Sigma Art, and there's a Nikon F-mount 3514G. Sigma Art costs about £600. 3514G cost at the time £1,200 or so. Sigma was better optically. Character was better on Nikon. At the time, we're talking about 7-8 years ago, I would get critical sharpness over anything, you know, because that was my time. That what I was, you know, and it was good value for money. Where I am today, I look at all aspects of lens performance, bokeh rendering, color rendition, you know, skin color rendition, things like this. That plays a lot more character of the lens. So looking at the Sigma 3514 Art, it's clinically amazing, but it's also soulless. You know, so optically amazing lens, but it doesn't have any character. It gives you this modern, proven look that a lot of people, you know, look at it now. But let's say 35, like at the time, that was the answer for me, clear answer. Now it wouldn't be a clear answer, you know, but there was a significant difference in terms of sharpness. When I look at both Nikon and Tamron's offering, there's not much difference. That's the thing. So yes, one is slightly better, but again, they need to be miles ahead in terms of performance to compete. You know, so that's where kind of my thinking comes from. But everyone is different, so that's the thing. As a value for money, I think Tamron. You know, that's the thing. But Nikon is about the same price, and you know you buy a Nikon. You know, it's not made on Tamron factory, if you see what I mean. So that's what it is. Let's go back to your chat. That was a good question. That was a good question. I appreciate it because I don't have like straight answers to that. So Ian Mooson on EVFs, he said, shoot outdoor sports, so see the live exposure as is real advantage. Also reviewing images through the EVF, not trying to see black screen on a bright sunny day. Here you go. Keep in mind, EVFs 5-6 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, were horrendous in terms of resolution and refresh rate. So they kind of come a long way. So if you buy the new camera now, you will have great experience. TCM is asking a question that I probably can't answer. So he's asking, what is the actual volume of film sales like? We hear about the resurgence of film, but it's that limited to a small group of very visible buyers. Fuji seems to think there isn't a demand. Okay, so film in the 90s and whatever is dropped was about this level, yeah? So when it's all dropped, it's basically went to zero, yeah? So what we get now is we're going up, but we are here. This is the level when everyone bought film back in the day. So every year we're doubling, you know, maybe tripling in terms of sales, but we're still a small percentage of where we were, if you see what I mean. So is film going to take over digital? No. Do the sales of film increase every year? Yes. The same with vinyl, very similar analogy. The vinyl plants are basically back-ordered for like years, basically. So, you know, that's the thing. A lot of small bands who are not Taylor Swift, basically, you know, or Adele, have to wait for months to get the vinyl version of their newly released album, which is already out on digital. You know, what we've seen in terms of supply of film is Kodak significantly increased their production from even, let's say, 2020, 2021 and COVID years. So film is now in much better supply, so you don't need to wait for a long time. I think the only film that's been out of stock for months and recently came back in stock was Kodak Color Plus, which is the cheapest color film stock from Kodak, which is a great film, by the way, like a great film stock. You know, I recommend this. Pro Image 100 is absolutely amazing, underrated and underappreciated film stock. Beautiful results with it. So no, you don't need to sell your digital camera. If you enjoy shoot digital and you never thought of film, you don't need to go and buy film. People, trust me, that's you talk about vocal people. It's basically like analogy saying, well, people who complain are small vocal people, you know. So you know, there is definitely a group of people. There's definitely a lot of it. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to shoot film and you don't want to see film, you don't need to hang around those, you know, circles. We have mixed channels, so we're going to talk both. That's the thing, you know, and like I shoot digital as well as film, and I love film, you know, but I'm not like saying, oh, I just shoot film and I don't shoot digital. No, I do both, you know. So, but the thing is, you know, if you start to hear it more, it's not because there's a small group of local people, but it's because overall it is growing in popularity. What my problem with newcomers to film, and this is something that I think we need to re-educate people on, is a lot of people buying, let's say, disposable cameras for their, you know, hand parties and stag nights and, you know, weddings. There's a wedding season coming out. Yeah, like it's coming soon. So there's big sales on those disposable cameras. The problem with those are generally fixed aperture, fixed shutter speed, which means on a bright day, you should be fine. Indoors, highly likely your image will come out either heavily underexposed or completely blank. The problem with that is that's their first experience in film photography. And by not having that good experience, because they didn't buy the right thing, they will never come back to film. And I think that's where we need to, you know, people who want, you know, encourage people to shoot film, is to explain them that, well, actually, if you want to get results and enjoy it, and get results what you see on the social media, let's say, you know, because a lot of people coming from those TikToks and Instagrams, let's be honest. You know, we need to say that, look, you need to buy an SLR. You don't need Leica or anything like this. But you need to get a good SLR, not the plastic lens, a good lens, maybe spend 200 pounds, spend 150 pounds, buy Nikon, let's say FM, you know, or even like FG or something like this with a 51.8 lens, and that should give you much better results than your point and shoot cameras, you know, with the plastic lenses. So that's where I stand about it. But I personally think that film will continue to increase. It's not a fad, but it's a niche, and it will stay a niche for a lot of people. But I'm glad that I'm enjoying shooting film. I have fantastic experience. I really enjoy looking at those negatives. I know that people around me who shoot a lot of film, you know, so and enjoy that. It doesn't mean that they will leave their digital camera and they will never come back to it. So that's kind of, you know, my thinking about this. So a bit deeper, but it is what it is. But in terms of sales figures, we will never find out. It's like we never find out the actual sales of cameras and lenses of digital equipment. All right, rant over. Almost famous 142 says, still got my Sigma 3514, still love the look. Yep, I had it till about last year, so sold it. I also had Sigma 51.4 Art. Also served me well for my photography at the time. Definitely very, very good lenses, you know, so... Daywalk says, back in my Pentax film days, the Tamron 90mm 2.5 macro lens was my favorite lens. I heard good things about it. Never tried it myself, but definitely it's one of those that I probably would love to try. So Randall says, I buy Nikon F glass for character and Z glass for sharpness. Here you go. You can have different approaches to the purchase of your equipment. So Joe is asking, again, coming back to 2875 question, do you think that Nikon 2875 on the Tamron design, some Recon, is a stopgap solution to plug a hole while Nikon develop their own? No, I actually think that this whole thing of 17 to 28, 2875 and 70 to 180 is a deliberate plan of Nikon introducing a budget-friendly line of lenses based on 2.8 fixed aperture. So that's my thinking behind it. I think because 24-70 2.8, 700 2.8 Nikon glass, professional glass, is superb glass, but it's expensive. And it's more expensive than the previous F-mount versions of those lenses. So I think Nikon saw the gap there, that they decided, why won't we fill it ourselves instead of letting third parties do this? So that's kind of my thinking behind it. So it's not an interim. I think it's here to stay at least for the next 5 years, but obviously we'll find out later. All right. Good to see you, Jay Blue. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us today. Israel is in the chat. Let's see, who else is here? So ZAVF is like looking through OVF. To me anyway, that's Dave Walker. It's very good, I agree. It's very good. That's what I'm saying. Just if you buy a latest camera, you shouldn't have any issues whatsoever. There's good discussion on Kodachrome and Fujichrome. I'd love to try, I haven't shot at the time. I think I have some Realas. I have Fujifilm 400X still somewhere in the box from my student days. So they've been in the fridge, so I might just shoot them. But yeah, I think we definitely see new films are coming in, which is quite good. We see a lot of Vision 3 respooled. Okay, that's fine. But, Kodak Release Gold for medium format, that's very good. I think we start to see more and more things like this. Chinese company Lucky said they're gonna start to make basically their own color film, which they used to back in the day. More power to them. The more manufacturers we have, the cheaper the film becomes, because the market saturates and they start to compete for the price. So why not? As long as we can keep it sustainable, I think, definitely, it's going to be great for everyone. I personally think if you look at 35mm market in film, that the prices are reasonable. Obviously medium format or large format is a bit, it's a different story. But 35mm, definitely, 10 quid a roll, 5 quid black and white roll, that's reasonable. You can get Canon 400 or format pound for about £5. You can get HP5 for about £6.50, £7. That's very reasonable. That's the thing. But I'm not looking at it as, yes, you can shoot 2,000 shots with your digital cameras in a day. Yes, you can't do that with film. But I think the whole idea of, shooting film, you have to come from the point that I'm not going to spray and pray. If you're shooting sports, wildlife, where you're shooting at a high frame rate, let's say 20 frames per second, yada, 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 well, definitely digital camera is the way to go. Unless you're, super rich and you just, that's the way you want to use it. But, otherwise I wouldn't really. So, and that's why I guess a lot of people coming back to manual focus film cameras, full manual even without light meters, so just because anyway, I have to choose my shot, I have to concentrate, I have to frame, so I can spend time on my shutter speed settings and things like this, So, but shooting with a manual camera without light meter has been a revelation to me. Took me a while to adjust, but and to judge the exposure, but overall, I am a lot better than I was even, let's say, a year ago. I can tell you that. HP5 or FP4, both fantastic. Street photography pushed to 1600 or even 3200 HP5. FP4 is for those beautiful mid-tones and gradations between different shades of gray. So if you want to use 50 shades of gray or more, get yourself an FP4. Again, FP4 is beautiful in medium format. It's absolutely stunning. It's probably would be like my choice for studio black and white photography. I just love this stock as a GME stock. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back. Good discussion on film here. Albert is saying, after Tamron acquired Bronica, the company experienced significant improvements optically, and Bronica has played a significant role, making Tamron a reliable brand. Okay. Well, Paul, we talk about different things on this live stream. That's the thing. We're not gonna, whatever questions come up, we answer them. It is what it is. You like it or not, that's just the way it is. Okay. So Paul is also saying, I have both 24-70 2.8 and 24-120 f4. I love both, but each time I use 2.8, I think it is better. Well, I can tell you that I was always 24 to 72.8 user myself, even for f-mount version. And what's interesting at the time was we had people buying 24 to 120 f-mount and compared to 24 to 72.8. 50% people would say 24 to 120 f4G is as good as 24 to 72.8e. And 50% saying, no, there's a massive difference between 2.8e and f4G versions. And I was in that camp. Now, I think it's a very similar situation with the Z mounts 24 to 120 and 24 to 70. I need 2.8 on my lenses because I buy those lenses for commercial use. So for me, this is just the way it is. I need that 2.8. I need that flexibility. And for, let's say, event photography, let's say, this type of shots, people, 24 to 70 is absolutely fine. But I know that, if I would travel, probably I'll get 24 to 120 for extra reach. And obviously it's f4, it's not 2.8, but optically it's superb. But yeah, I agree with you. I'm more in 2.8 camp as well myself, but I can see definitely, I can see why a lot of people considering Z24 to 120 being an amazing lens. It's very, very sharp. According to my own test as well. Thank you, host Mezzo. That's all that coffee that I drink, keeps me alive and fresh. Best size on digital camera to replicate Fuji Velvia 50. Difficult. I don't think you can replicate film with digital. That's my opinion. You can get close, but whatever they sell you on Instagram, the presets, don't believe the hype. If you want to get the film look, you have to really work hard for it. Whatever they tell you that it's Velvia 50, it's highly likely won't be. There's a lot of things going to it, and that's why, those, film recipes, film simulations, they may work in certain lighting conditions, but not at all lighting conditions, so keep that in mind. Joe Vlog misses smell of darkroom chemicals. Ventilation, if you build a darkroom now, definitely ventilation is the key here, but yeah, I'm glad that they're making them better nowadays. Definitely a lot more, environment friendly. That's sure. David Lewis asking, can the f6 use the 85 PC lens? Oh, good question. I think they should be fine. If I have 85 mil downstairs, I will go and try. But I think there was no issue. It's not the E lens as a 1.4, 105, 1.4E. It's just the standard PC lenses. You actually had to physically close down your aperture. So what you do is you open your aperture up to, let's say, 3.5 or 2.8. You focus, and then you have to close it down to actually get the depth of field. And the PCE version would stop that lens down automatically. So that's the difference. So it is 99% no issue. So if you're thinking maybe that knob touching the prism, yes, there are limitations. There are certain limitations there, so keep that in mind. So these, you can rotate the lens so the knob doesn't touch the prism. So, but there could be certain configurations that would not allow you to, because the knob would touch the prism. So that's what it is. Let's see. I remember days before it was focus. I had Zenith E40. Yeah, I had one of the Zeniths. I don't remember which one. Was a great camera. That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, back to digital. Brooke is asking, hi Con, when using my Nikon Z6, my play button sometimes doesn't allow me to view my images. Could this be due to how I set up my camera, or is it more likely the issue with the button? Could be an issue with the button. It could be that the image, the preview, comes up in your screen, in your EVF, and not the back. And that would be the mode of your monitor that you set up. There's a little button next to the hot shoe on the prism, so that cycles through either automatic viewfinder mode, so which means it's got eye sensor. When you put your camera to the eye, it goes to the VF. When you remove it, goes to the back. You could set it to LCD or EVF only. That could be that. It could be that your sensor there is eye sensor is a bit dirty, and then you may just want to clean it with some, like, let's say, earbud or something like this. So have a look at this. So hopefully it's just an easy solution, and hopefully you won't need to send the camera for servicing. So that's because if it's intermittent, hopefully it's highly likely that it's probably something to do there, but because unless you would feel maybe it's sticky or something like this, but just double check that first. Jan is saying that he still have a lot of film in the darkroom. Every time, guys, I kind of want to do a film photography live stream, right? And then I'm like, Well, we kind of talk film every live stream anyway, so we're not going to have a dedicated one because the topics like this came up, and I can see that you guys enjoy it as well. Well, some people do, some people don't. That's totally fine. We do both. We do both here, so that's what it is. Dave Walker's first series camera was ME Super. I assume it's a Pentax ME. Great cameras. As I say, mine got one recently. It sticks at 1 second. It seems like it may need a relubrication. It's absolutely fine on all other settings. And it's a great tiny camera. K1000 is also a great option for people starting. Photography, I am actually planning to start to build a darkroom. I am just waiting on the space to appear. So, if I create space around me, then I will start to build a darkroom. But I am already keeping an eye on the listings on eBay for some color enlargers. So, there's a list of models I want to, look into, depending on the budget. Unless I can score a really good deal. David the Drunk Man Photographer is in the chat, and he's saying the closest to the film look you can get with digital is Panasonic sensors. So he's talking about Nikon D700, Olympus AM1, and also Visco presets from 2020. Those are discontinued, so you can't buy them anymore. I have them. I bought them back in the day. I think it was like $70. They're good. They're good. Again, will they give you that true film look? No, but they will give you this nostalgic film look, which I wouldn't say that that's how portrait looks like, if you see what I mean. But definitely, there's a way to achieve it, but don't believe the hype where you can say you can just slap this preset on your image and that's it. No, it will give you a nostalgic look. It's what nostalgic look is. It's basically like milky shadows, milky blacks, so they basically turn your white point to the gray area and then push your black point to the gray area. And that's what gives you this kind of faded, less saturated look. That's basically what it is. And if they want to go for Velvia look, they just crank up the saturation to 11, basically, or 111, So it's not exactly how the film emulsion works, let's be honest. But yeah, you can get close, that's for sure. It's just not as easy as 5-second adjustment. Sorry, Dave, didn't get my 35 Ti. I think that one is going to be on my back burner. I think it's once kind of, I think I spent way too much money recently. So have to keep, have to wait on this one. But those are still reasonably priced compared to, let's say, 2080 Ti's, which I think double, at least if you're looking at eBay prices. So Harvinda is asking, if you are shooting portraits, you can only have one, what do you choose between 135 Planner, 8512 and 5012? That question is coming up a lot. The answer is generally depending on what focal distance you use. If, let's say, for example, you do a bit of everything and portraits are a big part of it, but you also want to use lens for something else, 50 is a good option because it's good all round. If you have a bunch of other lenses for other things and you just want to have a good portrait lens, then 85 1.2 is definitely a keeper. It's superb lens. I have 1.4G. I will upgrade to 85 1.2 at some point. Again, it will come. I know that. 135 is the lens that you will probably buy after the 85. And if you find yourself that you're shooting a lot outdoors, if you do that, then 135 is going to give you this beautiful bokeh and nice compression of the background, you name it. So that's kind of my advice. If you just want one portrait lens for portraiture, I would go for 85. As simple as that. Because you may find that 135 is not good for studio work. As simple as that. 50 maybe is not as good for close-up portraiture when you got just beauty shots for the face, things like this. Obviously, keep in mind that none of those lenses are focusing really close. So when you start to go to beauty makeup shots as well, sometimes you want to shoot with macro lenses as well because you have to come really close or crop. Again, for that territory, you probably would be better with medium format setup. And I'm talking about proper RZ system and things like this, so not even like GFX style, but those things are very scalable, if you see what I mean. Okay, but Plan A is amazing. I agree with Dave. It's superb lens. That's the thing. As I say, if I could have them all, I definitely get this one, and the next purchase would be 135. Absolutely. 50, I'm not keen on because I think that place will be taken either with the Voigtlander 50f1 or Voigtlander 41.2. It's just because they both ooze with character, and 51.2, I don't shoot commercial work enough to justify that particular lens for this particular style of shoots. Like a lot of these type of shots I can shoot on 24-70, 2.8 at 2.8, it will do the job for me. So that's the thing. But yeah, 51.2 is fantastic. If you need those focus, it's extremely good lens. Joe Locke says, has the Nikon Plan become a unit of weight measurements? Could be, but 8412 as well is quite nice. Colin Murphy is in the chat. Hello, Colin. It was good to see you last week. Thank you very much. We tried that thing you left with me. Firewater, for sure. All right, so let's see. I'm not gonna ask Dave. That's for sure. Okay, so let's see. Okay, there's an interesting discussion between David Liu and David the Drunk Wedding Photographer, and they're talking about which digital camera will give you more film look, and they discuss D200 and D700. Now, D200's got CCD sensor, and there's definitely a loss of love for CCD sensors. So definitely there's something in the water. Yeah, there's something in those pixels that gives you this beautiful color rendition and skin reproduction. They do get noisy, but really good. I'm really fond of my D200. D200 was the first digital Nikon camera I tried. It was basically our college camera. We could take them basically, rent them out from the technicians in the college. So that's what kind of my first use of those. Great camera. And David the Drunk Wedding Photographer suggests the D700, so that's the thing. Try them out, see what works for you. I think it's, it's one of those. Joe Vlogs is asking the question about Canon R1 really has just 24 megapixel sensor. Does that mean Canon has lost impetus? No, I think, we had this discussion when they announced the R1. Did they mention it's 24 megapixels? Yeah, okay. My thinking is the R1, it would be the camera like D5 and D6. Smaller resolution sensor, but big pixels, which means the low light on that should be absolutely amazing. So that's my thinking is, I think because Nikon went with 45, let's say, and they're all good in low light nowadays, but if you want that ultimate low light performance, currently Z6 series is actually better in low light than Z8 and Z9. I mean, not a big difference, but it is, there is a difference. Again, have a look at DxO Mark charts. And because of that, I think that there is a potential of Nikon Z1 or something like this. That's me thinking, that would address this kind of super fast frame rate, who knows, global shots, but amazing in low light. So that's what my thinking is. So there's definitely a market for this. Again, it's not going to sell the volume, but those are kind of expensive devices. Host Meta is asking, hey Con, do you think it's possible to have film camera from Nikon that shoots Z glass and autofocus? No, unfortunately not currently. You basically, it's a flange distance. That's the thing, and SLR design. So that's what it is. So you can obviously mount F glass on Z. You can't put Z glass on F. That's what it is. So will Nikon release Nikon Z film camera? I highly doubt it personally. But if they will surprise us, I'm going to be the one who is going to be just. Basically, I'm gonna go, definitely in some happy land, So, but I personally think that in my opinion, and I could be wrong on this one, but in my opinion, the demand for film camera is basically full manual control. That's the thing. But who knows if Nikon comes up with a version of whatever F100, call it a Z8 film or something, who knows. Who knows? I don't know what the numbers are going to be in terms of sales. Would you buy one? That's $1 million question here. D1X has been thrown in the mix of the cameras who can give you filmic results, you know. So that's good. Good morning, Len. Good to see you as well. D70 suggested by Tony as well. So, you know, again, CCD sensor, as far as I believe. It's interesting because, yeah, like I had one run on film and we're still talking in the chat about film, which is interesting. It tells me that, you know, you guys are interested in that as much as you're interested in digital as well. That's nice. Most film-like camera, my camera, that's TCM says. Least film-like camera, cameras I don't own. The grass is green, I agree. So Jeff is asking, hi, Con, any chance your channel would review the new Z-mount lenses from Typok? The new Typok Chimera looks like formidable alternative to Voigtlander lenses. Jeff, I would love to try, but we don't really reach out to the channels. They normally get in touch with us. So, you know, we're happy to test their lenses. You know, if they're interested, yeah, definitely, they can get in touch with us. You know, that's the thing. I'm definitely read about Typok lenses and their comparisons to Voigtlander lenses. I read about their Typok Leica mount lenses as well, and what people say, because they were just released 28 as well, I think, Typok, and obviously 28 1.5 I think came out from Voigtlander. So there was big discussion which lens is better, which lens has more character, yada yada. But as I say, we definitely open up. I am interested in Typok brand, because they do release very interesting products. You know, they don't look at the optical performance as such. They look at releasing a product that gives you certain characteristics and feel of to the image. You know, so, and I think not many people do that. So, you know, Voigtlander is another company that do that, and I like it. You know, I like it personally. Craig C is saying, is asking best 50 or 85 for D200. Ooh. Well, is it 50, like 50 prime, because that would give you 75, and 85 would give you about 135 because of the crop. So 50 technically would be 85 because it's 75 mil focal distance. But if we just talk about 50 primes, well, you got 50 any really. I mean, I use 51.4 Sigma Art, fantastic lens. 51AG is a tiny, small, very inexpensive, really good. 851AG, 851-4G, both are available. There's 85 3.5 macro for DX specifically. Now, I didn't like 851.8G for my use. I had it first, then I got 1.4G. I never looked back. But as a lot of people would say, 851AG is very sharp. You know, there's no doubt about this. I'm looking at some other things in the lens as well. So, but based on sharpness, it was very, very good. That's for sure. Let's see. Harvind is asking, so with the ZF Juin and Fuji X100 series being so thought after, why Nikon so slow bringing your high-end fixed lens compact? A lot of the things have been pre-planned for years, so I don't think they're slow. I think you want everything now, and I want everything now, and I want my Z6 III and Z7 III, I want my Z8 Mark II. But you know, we are not the ones who are making things, and we need to understand this. We need to put ourselves in each other's shoes. You see what I mean? So that's the thing. So if you look at any other brand, there's going to be a lot of different comments based on it. Sony users would have their issues with Sony. Canon users would have with Canon. Nikon users with Nikon not doing something that they think is obvious. You know, but you don't run Nikon, I don't run Nikon. And in terms of this, I think we kind of need to understand this. But I want everything yesterday. That's the thing. Yes, I agree with you from that point of view. You know, definitely. And I also think that they should be doing lots of things. Yeah, we should have the cinema lineup now from Red and things like this. But those things take time. And in your question, you said the ZF and X100 series being so thought after. The thought after means that they put a lot of thought into it, and I think that these good things will come from it. But the good things take time. You know, so that's kind of my opinion about it. So, you know, it is what it is. All right. Let's see. We actually, it's 3:30. We're going to be wrapping up in about a minute or so. So, last second questions. Let's just answer them. Okay. Yeah, Ultra Labs lenses. Yeah. So I haven't tried those, David. I'm not sure. TCM is sharing secret with us. So here's the secret. Are you going to the best to get? So you are going to get the best results from the files you are comfortable working with. And if you try to treat other camera files the same, it's going to go poorly. Yeah, I agree. Each camera requires its own attention. Like I can tell you that, let's say GFX 100, raw files, I work differently with them than, let's say, files from Nikon ZF or Nikon Z8. They all require a certain tweak because each sensor and each company's color science is slightly different. That's the thing. I didn't like GFX 100 as files out of the box, like when I got the camera. Just too greenish. I just didn't like them. So, I had to tweak it. And then once I tweak them, now I can get the best what I can, from the files, So, but again, everyone color grades differently. Everyone thinks that certain settings, make the image look better. So, everyone has different approach to that. Thank you very much there. Good to see you. We will see you next week. So David suggests me get 35 ZTI. Okay, yeah, 35 ZTI. I think that's where we should look into. Yes. So there is a definitely market for this. Obviously, we have Leica Q, we have Sony, whatever RX3. I think, if I'm not mistaken, could be wrong on this one. So I personally think that maybe Nikon should test the waters with a full frame, compact, fixed lens point and shoot. I think they should. I know it's going to be expensive. So, but based it on Z system, I think that would be quite interesting. I agree with this. All right. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. It's been a blast. Sorry for the buffering. That's not on me. That's on our internet provider. So, but hopefully you had a good time. We're gonna see what we're gonna do next week. If Z6 Mark III comes out, then we're gonna have a party. Yeah. So, but if it doesn't come out next week, then me and Gray are gonna talk more film. You like it or not, but we're going to talk about history. And I think the next step we're going to talk about is Nikon F4 series cameras, because we finished on Nikon F3 and its different models. So F4 is one to come next, maybe F5, who knows. But if you have any questions for me that I may start answering them on the next Q&A session, put them in the comments below. So if they're long answers, I won't answer them in the comments, but I will write them down and hopefully we can answer them next time. But I hope you had a great time. I hope you're going to enjoy sunshine, or if it's not sunshine, well, hopefully a good time of the weekend and lots of rest. And we'll see you next week. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been absolute blast and pleasure. Bye-bye.